In this video, we're going to be talking about Catholics and Reiki. Can Catholics and Christians practice Reiki? And is there any problem with the Reiki practice? I went to a retreat once where 6 out of 7 people at my lunch table were Reiki masters at a Catholic retreat house. And I had heard that Reiki was bad and problematic and that Catholics couldn't practice it. But on one hand, you have Catholics saying and Christians saying that, well, it's just like what Jesus did. Jesus laid hands on people and he healed people, and that's all we're doing in Reiki. It can be a Christian practice. And then on the other side, I read that the bishops of the Catholic Church condemned the practice of Reiki and said that Catholics cannot have any participation in it whatsoever or practice it whatsoever. And so you have people on both sides saying one thing or the other. Back onto the other side, people condemn the bishop's document saying, oh, it's inaccurate at this point, or it's wrong about this. And so I have done many years of study on this. I've read more books than most people have ever read on the subject of Reiki, and I've studied it in depth. And in this video, we're going to be talking about many of the problems that are associated with Reiki and why it's a problem for Catholics to practice Reiki. And in fact, why Catholics cannot practice Reiki and follow God, because it leads to a whole host of problems, which we're going to talk about. For starters, even though most people would never agree with this, there are some Christians out there who say that Reiki is a Christian practice. It was started by a Christian. But the fact is, it was started by a man named Makao Usui, who was a Buddhist, and he was on a Buddhist retreat, a 21-day Buddhist retreat at a Buddhist temple in a Buddhist area. And if you want to read the original Reiki handbook by Dr. Makao Usui, you will see that he was a Buddhist and he has many Buddhist principles and practices in his book. But it was during this 21-day retreat that Makao Usui said that the great Reiki energy of the universe came down into his crown chakra, which is the energy center in his head. And he said that he received the power to heal other people without depleting his own energy. And for anyone out there who doesn't know what Reiki is or energy healing is, it comes from the Japanese word ki or the Chinese word chi, and it generally means a universal life force energy. And they believe that energy is all throughout the universe. It makes up everything. It's in us. It's around us. It flows everywhere. And so when we're sick, when we're tired, when we're depressed, when we're angry, when things are going wrong, when we have bodily or mentally ills within us, then that means that negative energies have attached themselves to us and are blocking those pathways. So it's the Reiki practitioner's job, the Reiki master's job, to lay their hands over a person and to be a conduit for positive energy and to kind of channel that energy into that person to free them of the negative energies and allow that positive energy to flow in their life again. As we're going to see in this video, there are many problems scientifically with this, there are problems spiritually with this, and there are many dangers demonically with this as well. The first problem I hear from Christians is that they say that God is energy. So what they're just doing is allowing God to heal people through them. They're bringing that divine healing energy through them, through their hands, and bringing it into another person. But that's a huge problem because in Christianity, we don't believe that God is energy. That is a Buddhist and Hindu understanding of the world. I mean, search the Bible, search Christianity, search 2,000 years of Catholic teaching. You will never find an official source anywhere teaching that God is energy, because he's not. The Bible says that God created all things. All means all, and that includes energy. Now, some people say that, well, energy can't be created or destroyed. Not by humans maybe, but by God, who is God and who can do all things. He can create anything and destroy anything he wants anytime because he's God. And so what we believe is that God is infinite being, infinite spiritual being. He has nothing to do with energy at all. It doesn't proceed from him. It doesn't emanate from him. He's not made up of it in any way. He transcends his creation completely. And that is an official teaching of the Catholic Church. So God is not made of energy, and we are not made up of life force energy either. That is not our life force principle as Reiki teaches. In fact, the Catholic Church teaches infallibly that we are made up of body and soul. Our soul is the life force principle. Now, we may have energies within us or around us, but they're physical energy. In Reiki, the energy that's being talked about is a spiritual energy, and they're channeling a spiritual energy, an unseen energy from the universe that really there's no proof for whatsoever. And that's another problem. And it's one of the big problems is that many people say that Reiki is scientifically proven. I mean, it has the full backing of science, but that's just not true on so many levels. First, it's impossible to prove the existence scientifically of an unseen energy force. It's impossible to prove that there's an energy aura around us and any sort of thing like that. Most people don't understand the differences between veritable energy and putative energy, one being the physical ones that are in us and one being the spiritual ones that can't be proven. And even some of the highest and most prestigious pro-Reiki organizations in this country, pro-alternative medicine organizations in this country say that Reiki cannot be proven. And I give many quotes within my book, my new book on the New Age movement. And Reiki is a whole chapter. The book is called Counterfeit Spirituality, and you can find it on Amazon. It's called Counterfeit Spirituality, Exposing the False Gods. And I give many quotes, even from the National Center of Complementary Medicine and really prestigious organizations that say veritable energy, the spiritual energy that we purport Reiki uses, cannot be proven by any biophysical means. I mean, you have really high up people saying this. And people say, yeah, but there's been many studies that prove Reiki to be true. But really, there's been far more studies that have proven Reiki not to be true, to be more of the placebo effect. And there have been many organizations, including by William T. Jarvis, who's the head of healthcare fraud in our country, who says that there is zero evidence for Reiki, and there's zero evidence for it working more than massage or any other kinds of healing means. Most of the studies that have been done have not been good. They've not been honest. There haven't been blind or double-blind studies that really have proven anything, but most times prove the opposite. And in fact, in 1996, the James Randi Educational Organization had a test for anyone who thought that they could scientifically prove Reiki. And they were offering $742,000 to anybody who could do it. Of course, one person tried and they failed miserably under really scientific conditions. And they upped it to $1 million to anybody who can prove that Reiki exists, that they could show an aura or an energy field or anything like that. But the fact is, no one has been able to do so. And they even reached out to Dolores Krieger, who is one of the biggest energy healers in the country, and she wouldn't even accept it because it cannot be proven scientifically. Most Reiki practitioners themselves don't even understand the energy, they don't know how it works, and they all contradict each other about what it's about. For example, even before I wrote my book, I did a lot of research interviewing Reiki practitioners, energy healers, and things like that. And I asked them all the same 10 questions. Where does the energy come from? How does it work? What's the nature of the energy? I asked them a lot of questions, and not a single one of them gave me the same answer. There were 10 different answers, 20 different answers, all with the same questions. Can you imagine going to a doctor's office and asking what the diagnosis for my condition is, and they give you 10 different answers and they all contradict each other? You would leave that office in a second and you would say it's not even credible because medicine is medicine. If you have a sickness, you give them this medicine. If you have something, you give them this. But we don't contradict each other 10 different ways. That's not how medicine works. And in fact, one of the Reiki practitioners that I asked, she even said that. She said, Bryan, if you ask many different Reiki masters the same questions, she said, you're going to get so many different answers because it depends on how you feel. How you feel? Truth is not based on feeling, and science is definitely not based on feeling. If this is scientifically based, it has nothing to do with how you feel. There is little to no proof of a scientific backing for Reiki whatsoever. But that is the smallest problem that I have with Reiki. The major concern for Christians and for Catholics are the spiritual problems with Reiki. There are so many spiritual problems with this practice, including the fact that, as we said, that God is energy, which he's not, that we're made up of a life force energy, which we're not, that we could channel energy or be a conduit to energy, which we can't. But there are many more problems with this as well. William Rand is one of the most popular Reiki masters in the world, who's written several books on the subject, says there's many differences between what Jesus did and what Reiki does. And so he tries to show a difference that Reiki is just spiritual healing. Jesus used it, and we can use it in the same way. Other Catholics say that, well, Jesus healed people and laid hands on people, and so do we. But if you actually look at what Jesus did and what Reiki practitioners purport to do, they're in completely different ballparks. They're not even on the same playing field, and they're worlds apart. Now, before I get into this, I just want to say briefly that there is a charismatic gift of healing where Christians can heal people by the power of God. And there are many people who do that, like Father Fernando Suarez, Sister Bridge McKenna, and many worldwide healers that heal people. And Reiki practitioners want to heal people, and that's good and that's noble. They're just going about it the wrong way. The desire is good, the means are not good. If you look at the life of Jesus, and if you look at the Bible, if you look at his disciples, you will not find a single mention of energy fields, auras, or anything else. You will not see Jesus practicing Reiki. You will not see Jesus laying hands on people for 45 to 90 minutes as Reiki practitioners do. No, Jesus healed people by his own power because he was the divine Son of God, the one who created the entire universe. Yes, the Bible said that Jesus created the entire universe. And if Jesus created the whole universe, then he can heal someone who's blind, sick, deaf, diseased. And it's not Reiki. We've already said that Reiki comes from a Buddhist practice, has come down through Buddhist history, and has recently come to America, and Christians have recently started practicing it. But it is not a Christian practice or tradition. I know people will disagree with me on this, but they are wrong. No offense, but there's no gray matter in this. I mean, look at the Bible. Anyone who thinks that I'm wrong on this matter, or the Catholic Church is wrong, or the bishops are wrong on this matter, can answer the following questions. Can anyone find me a single passage in the Bible that mentions energy healing, aura, energy auras, or anything like that? Can you find anywhere in Scripture where it says that there are chakras, that we have chakras within us, or energy centers, or that healing comes by way of energy? There's not a single iota of that anywhere on the pages of the Bible. Can you show me where Jesus stood over people for 45 to 90 minutes, channeling some unseen energy and trying to use the energy of the universe to heal people? I mean, again, it's not in the Bible. And what Reiki practitioners purport to do and what Jesus did are on completely different playing fields. If you look at the lives of the apostles, they healed people instantly, completely, with no regression, on the spot. It's not the same with Reiki. Jesus healed people instantly, completely, no regression, on the spot. Not the same with Reiki practitioners, as we'll see in 1 second. Where does the Bible say that you need to receive an attunement in order to heal people? Or that you need to go to school and pay money for the gift of healing, something actually that the Bible condemns? Where does it say that the master needs to pass on this practice to the student? Sure, Jesus taught his disciples, but it wasn't a secret practice. Anybody who has the gift of God can heal. It's not passed on secretly, as Reiki practitioners make it seem like. And finally, where does the Bible use any kind of Reiki terminology, like the power symbol, the distance symbol, or any of the symbols that Reiki purports to use to increase the energy healing in someone? All of this is foreign not only to the Bible, but to the Catholic Church, to Christianity in general, and to Christians for over 2,000 years. Most of the healings in Reiki are not even healings. I mean, they say they're healings, but they're really not. They just make somebody feel better, or the person left more positive, but it's not real biblical healing. Biblical healing actually heals people. And so I got into a conversation with a Reiki practitioner once as I was giving a talk about Reiki at a church. And she stood up afterwards and she said, well, I'm a good Catholic and I've been practicing Reiki for 20 years and I don't have a problem with the practice of Reiki. And I wanted to say to her, well, it doesn't matter what you personally have a problem with or not, because you're not the church and you're never going to be the church, and your personal opinion on the matter matters not. If the bishops have spoken and the church has spoken, if you claim to be a good Catholic, you will follow the church. That's what I wanted to say, but I didn't. I let her speak. But I ended up challenging her on her prospect, and I said, Reiki doesn't work. And I said, almost all of the people who claim that Reiki heals people like the Bible, it's not even close. And I told this lady, have you ever healed anyone who is blind, sick, completely deaf, paralyzed, dead, or anything like that was done in the Bible? I was like, I doubt you have. And in fact, all Reiki practitioners that I've asked this question to have said, no, they can't heal people that way. But maybe a person comes in and they're stressed and they leave less stressed. Or maybe they came in, they were really tense, but when they got up after the Reiki session, they could stand up a little straighter and they felt better, less stressed. And I said, that is not what biblical healing is. Sure, we could try to heal people on all levels, but to say that someone came in stressed and left less stressed, that is not what we're talking about here, and that is false claims. I can find that through massage. I can find that through counseling. I can find that just through a friend talking to me and being there for me. And this lady went on to say that I'm right. Most healings actually aren't healings in Reiki, and people just leave a little bit better than they were before. They're not really healed the way Reiki people seem like that. And this is a woman of 20 years experience who admitted this. And she went on to say that 85, I think she said, or 86% of all illnesses in the body is related to stress. So if you can cure the stress, then you can maybe help the person in some way. Well, again, this is different than what Reiki practitioners promote. I mean, anybody who's lacking love or needs love, anyone who just has someone come put hands on them may feel a little bit better in some way. That's why people love massage or some kind of chiropractic healing. I mean, there's so many different types of healing. Reiki, to say that energy comes down and heals you, and it's not just being in the company of someone and not just helping them and not just being there for them, that energy heals you and it's the energy of the universe, it's just garbage. And that's why the healthcare fraud organizations in this country have warned again and again and again against holistic health practices that have no scientific backing. And the bishops and the church have warned against it, that it contradicts Christianity. Think about attunements. You need to receive an attunement in Reiki, and that's like turning up a dial of a radio to make a station come in clearer, they say. However, attunements are full of New Age Hinduistic concepts, occultic concepts, like talking to people on the other side, like spirit guides, like God consciousness, psychic experiences, past life regression, your higher self that you can communicate with. There have been many people talking about these things in attunement, and these are occultic things that you want to stay away from. And I've had people contact me from across the country saying that they got into Reiki and they've been demonically harassed ever since, and they can't shake it, and no priest knows what to do about it, and they can't get rid of this demon inside them. And so they came to me for help. And for all the people out there that say that Reiki has no bad side effects, there are literally no negative side effects from Reiki, could not be further from the truth. There are not only physical side effects, but there are especially spiritual side effects as well. Check out Moira Noonan's book, Ransomed from Darkness. She said that the priest who prayed over her knew the demon of Reiki's name, and she needed 3 or 4 hours of prayer and deliverance just to get rid of this demon out of her after she had practiced Reiki for many years. I know a priest who did exorcisms in a convent of nuns who were practicing Reiki because they had let evil spirits in through this practice as well. Reiki is demonic because the power does not come from God. And any power that does not come directly from God, like in Christian charismatic healing, is open to the darkness and is open to the influence of demonic spirits. And many people, you can look up their testimonies online if you don't believe me, but many people will tell you their story on this. There are so many problems with Reiki and so much more that I could say, but it's all in my book. This is just a very short understanding of the subject. The book has so many quotes from Christians, non-Christians. It has scientific evaluation. It has Christian and spiritual evaluation. So check out my book, Counterfeit Spirituality, Exposing the False Gods. It's come out with our Sunday Visitor. Right now, because of the coronavirus pandemic, it's only out in ebook on Kindle, and you can find it on Amazon, Google Reads, or you can find it on Barnes & Noble. And as soon as this pandemic's over, the hard copy will come out as well. So check it out. It's Counterfeit Spirituality. I'll put a link in the description below. But this will not only talk about Reiki, it talks about yoga, it talks about mindfulness, Zen, what's good, what's bad, what practices can we do, what practices can we not do, and how do you know the difference? This book is the ultimate discernment guide for all Christians. And this is a very short video on Reiki. There's so much more I could say with the problems physically, spiritually, and in other ways, especially with the use of crystals, spirit guides, calling on people on the other side, which is an occult practice that the church and the Bible condemns, and so much more. In closing, I'll just say that I had a deacon come up to me after one of my talks at a church, and he said, I didn't know this. I participated in Reiki. He said, I'm going to go to confession, and I'm not going to participate in this practice anymore. And I said, that's great. And I would say that to you. If you've participated in Reiki, if you've had it done on you, and you didn't know better, just don't do it again. If you've been a practitioner, you need to get out and you need to give it up. And Christ may give you a real gift of charismatic healing. I know people who have received such. But the fact is, we need to go to confession and we need to start over with God. Pledge yourself to God the right way. Many people think they're doing God's will by doing Reiki, but they're not. And I don't mean that to be mean. I just mean it to be the reality. It doesn't matter how we feel. We can't pretend we're not pleasing God by doing Reiki. And in fact, we're displeasing him because it's not a Christian practice. So pray, go to confession, reject the practice forever, and look into what the bishops have to say, because they themselves say that no one can practice Reiki. Let me know your thoughts down below in the comments section. I'm going to have more videos on Reiki coming up as well. Please share this with everybody. Put it on your social media, please. Please like this video. And if you love this video, please subscribe, because we have a ton more videos on the New Age movement, on Reiki, on yoga, on laws of attraction, Course in Miracles, New Age priests like Father Richard Rohr, Father Thomas Keating, and many more. These are the things that Catholics don't know and are led astray by, and we need to know. Or you could just buy my book. It says it all. Most of all, please support our ministry, especially during this coronavirus pandemic. We have no speaking engagements right now. We have no retreats, and we rely solely on people supporting our ministry. The more you can support us, the more we can help save souls and change lives around the world. Thank you, and God bless you.